Ruckerman.
Choice. No pretense, no hidden schemes. Just sports, passion, fueling dreams. From the field to the court, every play that's made. Real takes over fake debates. Turn it up, hear the honest sound. Unfiltered sports all year round. Discussions pure, no masquerade. Real takes over fake debates. Turn it up. Over fake debates. Real takes over fake debates. Real takes over fake debates.
And we are live. Sbtalksports and Sean Webb. Real takes over fake debates. Your phone has been blowing up, Sean. My phone has been blowing up, Sean. It's been crazy. It's NBA free agency. I got Sean's Twitter open right here on my laptop screen, seeing if anything else will happen. But something just happened, but it's not a big name player, so we don't have to go too deep involved in it. So while we keep our eye on that, make sure you guys like. Make sure you guys share. Make sure you guys subscribe. We're going to get right into it. But Sean, first thing first, how are you doing today, brother?
Doing good, SB. Happy Free Agency Monday to you. Happy Free Agency Monday, everyone out there watching. Thank you for watching Real Takes Over Fake Debates.
Thank you. Now, Sean, I'm hoping, this Chicago Bulls team makes some moves. If you guys have not watched our prediction videos, please watch them because I think me and Sean like back to back on calling moves. Sean just called. We just recorded what division? Northwest Division. That's the Denver Nuggets in. And Sean called the trade verbatim. He said Denver's gonna trade my MPJ for Cam Johnson. MPJ in the first. We actually called the pick too. MPJ up first for Cam Johnson. Denver just went and made that trade go through today. I don't know who Sean know in the front office or Sean just a wizard with it, but make sure you guys check out the content. Make sure you guys watch us and go ahead and check that out because we Sean, we back to back on that. And salute G Money in the chat. Salute Tiffany in the chat. Salute Go James. All right, guys, let's go. We got to get right to the show. So look, we're gonna let the free agency cook a little bit more before we talk about any moves. If it's any certain players or moves that you want me and Sean to talk about, please leave it in the comment section and we will get to it. We got other sports news to get through because I feel like another big move is going to happen. If something crazy happened, obviously, me and Sean will stop. We'll talk about what if crazy moves like LeBron getting traded, but we'll see if that happens. I doubt it. But first thing first, a move happened on the NFL. Let's knock the NFL story out right now. Steelers acquired Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith while sending Minkah Fitzpatrick back to the Dolphins. When you first originally sent me this trade, Sean, I was like, oh, the Steelers got Jalen Ramsey? I was like, I like it. Then I seen Minkah Fitzpatrick got in trade. I was like, I don't know if I like it no more. So how you looking at this trade, how you grade it, it is the Steelers becoming a retirement home because that's what people telling people. That's what I'm hearing.
I do not like this trade for the Steelers. I understand Jalen Ramsey and what Jalen Ramsey is by reputation and things of that nature. But Minkah Fitzpatrick, when you talk about the best safeties in the league, he's right there in the conversation. I don't know if he's the best, but he's right there in the conversation. So I didn't particularly
top 5 for sure, top 10 for sure.
I would say 5 definitely. I think Kyle Hamilton from Baltimore is the best safety in the league, but I think Minkah Fitzpatrick is right up there. That said, you know, it feels like the Steelers are becoming the team that we don't expect them to be, which is a team that's desperate. And
retirement home.
Yeah, this move screams desperation to me. That the Steelers got to win a playoff game at least this year.
Yep.
So I don't love the trade for them because, again, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and you don't just replace a Minkah Fitzpatrick, but they feel maybe schematically they can do some things. Apparently, it doesn't seem that Jalen Ramsey is going to be moving to safety just yet.
I wish he would, because he'll be probably the best safety in the league. And I'm stretching it by saying that, but I'm saying that's how good Jalen Ramsey is, and I think he would be one of the best safeties in the league. Best safety was a strong word. One of the best safeties, I meant to say.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know if it's not always the easiest transition, right? There's some guys who, made the transition earlier in their careers. Ronnie Lott started as a corner, moved to safeties, arguably considered, one of the two best safeties ever, along with Ed Reed. So I don't know if it's a given if he moves positions that it's going to be this absolute great thing. I think it will extend his career. Whether or not he'll be great at it is a whole different conversation. But that said, Jonnu Smith, the other player in this deal, Arthur Smith, the former Atlanta Falcons head coach, had Jonnu Smith in Atlanta. Love Jonnu Smith. He's going to be a good scheme fit. But I see the look on your face. That means something just happened. So,
I like this move. Atlanta going crazy. Atlanta, we can talk about this more later. Atlanta has just signed for a 4-year, $62 million deal, N'Keal Alexander-Walker. That I like. Atlanta might be a problem next year. Atlanta might be a problem, but let's keep going though. Atlanta might be a problem. I like that move. Hey, if you got a point guard who can't play defense, that Trey Young is good. He got enough defenders and shooters around him. Atlanta. Hey, this might be. I know we in the football topic. That's a lot. I want to knock all this stuff as we can talk to it, but Atlanta. I had Detroit. Atlanta might be my dark horse next year to make the Eastern Conference Finals. But we'll talk till we get there. I'll make sure I add that in here. But go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry.
No. So yeah, but Jonnu Smith is schematically, he's a great fit for what Arthur Smith likes to do offensively. And so that's where I like the move for Pittsburgh. But hate losing Minkah Fitzpatrick, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, Sean, and I had seen another thing about why they traded Minkah, because I was wondering, why would you do something like that? That was kind of stupid. I guess the Steelers had their mindset in stone that they were not going to sign Minkah Fitzpatrick next season. So they said, rather let's get something for him instead of nothing. That's what I heard allegedly. That's what's going on.
Yeah, if that's the case, then okay.
Do what you got to do. But my problem is, why would you want to sign Minkah Fitzpatrick? You got one of the best safeties in the league. Did they draft a safety this year? I don't remember. I'm gonna have to go back. I'm gonna go and look again. But I'm like, I don't remember you guys drafting a safety. But you never know. But how I grade this move, I graded how I first graded, I gave it a B+ because I'm like, just add Jalen Ramsey. But when I realized they lost Minkah Fitzpatrick, I go B- on him, B- C+ ish range, because Jalen Ramsey is great, but he's still not the same Jalen Ramsey. He had injury problems. Will he come in and make an instant impact? Possibly. Yes, we still don't know what's going on with TJ Watt. Teams have been calling about TJ Watt because they see they trade Minkah. I think that'll be dumb for the Pittsburgh Steelers to trade TJ Watt, so I don't expect him to move. But I think Jalen Ramsey could come in and make plays, but I don't think with all these young wide receivers, electric wide receivers, you sign 2 old corners, expect your defense to be elite. Like when I knew they signed Darius Slay, I was like, okay, he come in and make plays here and there as a vet presence. And I was thinking more for Porter Jr. So I do like that Porter Jr. got vets to come in with him. And I feel like you learn from Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey. That's some of the best 2 corners you can learn from in a game of football. So I think for Joey Porter, this is an A+ for him because he learned from some of the best. He learned from both of the guys are champions. Jalen Ramsey was a lockdown, the best corner in the league for a point in time, so he could teach him how to be that great. But I feel like at what cost when it comes to Minkah, so I want to see what Jalen Ramsey do. I will hope Jalen Ramsey switch to safety. I think he can still do it. but we'll see. Houston trying to win it all, my God. Yeah, they try to go crazy. The West will be tough, 100%. Next up, Sean. LeBron James has opted into his, it was like 52.5. I just said 53. $53 million player option for next season. The first time he ever done that in his career. Laker fans are worried. Well, not Laker fans are worried because if some Laker fans want him to go and some Laker fans want him to stay. Where the confusion and the uproar came in from was from Rich Paul with the statement that he made. Long story short, in the statement, he was pretty much like he understands the Lakers are dealing for the future, but LeBron want to win a championship now. So I was a little confused on that. I got another question that leads on this, but I want you to talk about LeBron opting in first. So what you think about that?
LeBron likes his money.
Yeah. I don't blame him.
So I was not surprised LeBron opted in. Mm-hmm. LeBron likes his money. Mm-hmm. And LeBron has made it also very obvious that he has a desire to be an owner of an NBA franchise. Mm-hmm. The way you do that is to have capital to bring in a group. And LeBron wants to have that capital. And so, no, I'm not surprised LeBron opted in at all. Mm-hmm. What I will say, though, SB, is LeBron is no idiot. And by no idiot, I mean the way Rich Paul put out that statement.
Oh, LeBron approved that before it said. LeBron didn't let you just want to say anything.
Right. So he's hedging. Mm-hmm. Now, well, go ahead.
No, I just feel like LeBron is never going to let no statement come out like that without his approval. But also, I think, Sean, this was a slap at the Lakers. Because I know Jeff Teague, and it was like, oh, yeah, he's trying to flex his muscle. He still got no. This is, I took a pay cut last year for y'all, and y'all did nothing. You got me messed up. If you think this is possibly my last year or these next 2 years, or I can just walk freely next year and go where I want to go if I want to play some more, you think I'm going to take a pay cut? I took a pay cut for y'all last year, and what did y'all bring me?
He didn't take a pay cut. He agreed to, they didn't make any moves, and so he signed the extension that the 2-year extension that he could, the 1-and-1, which again has a $53 million player option on it this year. So, so I think it was more of a shot at Rob Pelinka to say, do I really trust you to make moves?
No, I don't trust him. Rob Pelinka, first of all, let's be real. Let's be real. I'm not mad at LeBron for not trusting Rob Pelinka, but let's be 100% real. Because he been a living down that he got Luka Doncic. He has been trash as a GM. Let's just be honest. He luckily got Luka Doncic, and Anthony Davis wasn't your move. LeBron pretty much forced that move. LeBron and AD forced that move. You have done nothing as a GM. Why would I trust you? If I'm LeBron James, why would I trust you, Rob Pelinka? He finna hang his head on that he got the Lakers Luka Doncic when Nico Harrison gave him Luka Doncic. You didn't do that. You didn't execute that at all. At all. You didn't execute that at all. He convinced me with that. Like I made so many moves since LeBron got here, pretty much have no future because of him. I mean, that is true, though, but it's like when you bring a guy like LeBron James into your team, you got to risk the future. It's championship or bust. You got LeBron. Why would I bring LeBron James to my team and don't do nothing with him? That will make you look even 2 times as a failure as a GM. And then one, you think LeBron how many years you think LeBron gonna sit there and let you just waste this time by not bringing no talent in? You will be fired. LeBron getting you up. Got to get you up out of there, out that seat. He don't want to do his job. Get him up out of it. But Sean, my next question before we get into the big point of this opted in thing. Do you think it was smart for LeBron to do that? Is this showing that he want to compete for a championship or not?
In this economy, take every penny you can get.
I feel you on that, boy. Ooh, wait.
So
when you put it that way.
The Lakers offered him this 1-and-1 deal. They agreed to this 1-and-1 deal. They always knew this was a possibility. You have to prepare for the possibility that a player may opt in. Just like you prepare for the possibility they may opt out. There's conversations that you have with the player and their reps and things of that nature. So the Lakers were prepared for this possibility. The Lakers are also one of those organizations that one of the reasons why guys of a certain age may be okay going there is that they have shown historically that they don't mind having the older star.
Yeah, they don't.
Particularly if the older star is still box office, meaning somebody that people will pay to see. LeBron is somebody people will pay to see even at 40, going on 41. So the Lakers know they're getting a great benefit of this. And also, when you think about it, that LeBron actually chose them in free agency.
Yes,
It wasn't they didn't trade for LeBron, they didn't draft LeBron. He chose them as a free agent after a pretty good 4-year run in Cleveland. So his second time in Cleveland. So, I think the Lakers understand that LeBron had really did, I don't want to say resurrect, he really kept the Lakers relevant and obviously helped lead them to a championship in 2020. But the Lakers know they've gotten a great value out of LeBron, and they're not crazy. Now, where it's going to get interesting, do I think LeBron is going to ask for a trade? No.
Who's going to trade for him? Nobody got nothing to trade for him to get him.
Well, I mean, there's hypothetical trades out there.
He ain't going nowhere. It'd be dumb to trade for 1 year LeBron.
Right. So, and again, we're saying 1 year because he has 1 year left on his contract. But also, LeBron hasn't given any indication of when he's hanging it up. I'd like to believe this is going to be his last year.
I think so. And then he kind of had a cryptic video that came out, and then he was at dinner, and he was just, it seemed like he had just keep playing. He said it's up to Savannah. So once Savannah say I hang it up, it's over with. I think it might be this last year. He said once Savannah say it's time to hang it up, I'm hanging it up.
Yeah. Now Savannah also said that he should try to play with Bryce too.
Oh, he might. I mean, I don't think Bryce coming out the first year though, but he can force it again.
But
now it'd be different. He could have forced it.
Yeah.
When it was his, but it ain't his team no more. It's Luka's team now. You know what I'm saying? You can't force the Lakers to draft Bryce too now.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Now Savannah does have a lot to say. Let's
Savannah got all to say. Savannah say go. It's going down.
I mean, that's another conversation. But the point is that
no conversation. LeBron ain't got a chance. If Savannah say sit it down, it's over. That man gonna be gone. It's over.
Yeah, and again, I think the reason why she'd be the reason why he's not leaving LA is that they and their family have basically set their roots in LA. They still have their home in Akron, but they've set their roots in LA. I think he's got a lot of business interests out there. She has business interests out there now with her podcast and other stuff that I believe she's doing.
Yeah, she picked LA because I think LeBron wanted to go to New York. She said, "No, we going to LA," and they went right to LA because that's what Savannah picked.
Must be good. Anyway, yeah, no, I just think ultimately it comes down to him saying at a certain point, "Hey, this season, this is going to be it for me." He hasn't done that yet. I kind of believe I'm going to trademark it. I want to just trademark 23 for 23 so I can make money off of LeBron's last season. But I believe 23 for 23 is it. That's just my belief. But obviously, that until he announces it, nobody knows what he's going to do.
I'm glad you brought that up, Sean, because with him opting in, that is the question of the day. Is this sign of a trade or is this a sign of retirement? If you had to pick between the two, I think it's one. It's one of the two. I think this is it, like Michael Jackson. And also, my other question too, Sean, do you think the NBA is going to force LeBron to announce his retirement to make that money? He can't go out like Tim Duncan.
No, I don't think the NBA is going to do anything. I think it's going to be, if LeBron's personality, LeBron is going to want a farewell tour.
He said he did though, really, but I think he capped it. Come on. I think he capping.
Come on.
But I think the NBA gonna make him do it too, though, because that how much money they're gonna make off LeBron farewell tour, it's gonna be ridiculous, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, will he do LeBron when LeBron announces his farewell or that this is gonna be the last season or whatever his thought is? The league is gonna have some conversations with him, I'm sure, about making sure that in every city he goes to outside of LA, presumably that this is going to be the final game, that there's going to be some ceremonies there and things of that nature. It's going to be an event, and the NBA is going to want to capitalize on it. But it's really up to
tickets. Going to be $1,000 a pop in Charlotte. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, again, and also, I remember when Kareem, for example, when he announced his last season, that pretty much every city they went to and played to, they did like a tribute to him, and they gave him like these gifts, and it was like a big thing, So I remember Jordan, it was I don't remember every city did it, but I do know that there were some cities when he basically said, "Hey, this is going to be it," that they did the same thing. So I would presume it would be the same for LeBron as well if he announces it. And I would be shocked if he didn't announce it, and if he didn't, like when he was talking about a couple years ago about I don't know how much longer I'm going to play, and I got to get with my family. Like, all right, man, we know good and well this ain't it. You're going to keep playing. And you're going to announce when you're going to hang it up because you want that adulation.
Yeah, you do. I do agree. Hold on, wait for me. See, nothing important. I do agree that I think this sign is towards retirement. I think this is LeBron last year. Will he push it to 2-4? I don't know. I think only way he will push it to 2-4 if like Bryce is getting like that, not like it don't feel like it's like how he did with Bronny. Like I think Bronny would have still probably got like undrafted or maybe got a look at the NBA, but with him being injured and out as he was, he probably would have went back for another year if he was anybody else, only because of the injuries, with the heart attack. But we know that the Lakers made it happen because with Bron. If Bryce come out next year and it don't feel like he will be forced into being drafted, where he like legitly has a nod to get drafted, then I think LeBron might take that chance. But outside of that, no, I think this is it. 23 for 23, like you said. I think LeBron opted in to get the last big payday, go out with a bang. He would prefer to go out with a championship, but I don't think that's happening with this Lakers team right now. Maybe they got to get out of the bid. They got to add other assets to the team. They just lost Dorian Finney-Smith too, so it's looking ugly for Bron. If I'm being honest about it, so I'm 100% leaning towards retirement because I've been seeing some of the false, like the fake trades. I see the Warriors because I think the Warriors and the Knicks is either Warriors or Knicks in Cleveland where he would want to go. What would LeBron to be happy being at? Cleveland, obviously, because that's his hometown team. But is it worth trading Darius Garland, possibly losing Hunter, or Jared Allen for 1 or 2 years of LeBron? It's not worth it. If you the Golden State Warriors, is it worth trading Jimmy Butler, maybe Jimmy Butler and another player for 1 year LeBron? You could argue that. If you go to the Knicks, is it worth getting rid of OG, Mikal Bridges, or possibly Cat for 1 year LeBron? I personally wouldn't do it if you ask me.
And I mean the Lakers did sign Jalen Arabia, so I mean
GG's in the chat. No championship, I can guarantee that.
Yeah, championship. Yeah.
The window is closed. Yeah. Sean, next story, because we got to get into this. The Kobe Bryant disrespect has to stop. So this is what happened when, wrong messages say certain things, because I believe that's what the problem with what LeBron's statement said. Then, in the sports media war that we get now, it's not about basketball anymore. It's about narratives and who said what, and I'm going to react to somebody else, what they said. So then they go on their show and react to what I said. Then I'm going to go back on my show and react to what he said to I said to what he said originally. That's the type of content sports is becoming right now. And we know who to blame for that, but that's a different story for a different day. So, obviously, LeBron made the comment about the championship rings. Everybody said they took it which way they took it. Then it led to trickling down to Kobe Bryant, which I don't understand how Kobe ended up catching the straight. But Kobe Bryant went in there. They threw Kobe Bryant in there. And then on First Take, which I do agree with Draymond on, you got a bunch of people who didn't win a championship on the panel. Not at least you could at least had one champion up there to give a different perspective on things. It was T-Mac, J. Will, Gil. Shout out Gil, by the way. And T-Mac said, if you put me on that Lakers team, which you gonna get into T-Mac too. T-Mac said, if you put me on that Lakers team, I could easily win. Then Gil was talking about how when you're the second option, they don't respect your championships. And then I'm trying to remember what Jay Will said. Jay Will said something on the line that was stupid too. But I want to get more. And then now that led to everybody calling out Kobe, talking about how Kobe didn't win. He was a secondary guy. Shaq could do without him. Like Kobe wasn't in the best conversations of the league. Then you got your boy D Wade. I definitely say your boy because he got this off from Chicago talking this nonsense. Talking about Pau Gasol should have won Finals MVP over Kobe. Kobe played bad in that Finals. You go back and look at that Finals. Actually, Kobe played good, and he should have won the Finals MVP. So this just all was a trickle down effect that everybody just disrespected Kobe Bryant, and I do think it has to stop because my problem is this, Sean. Where was this energy at when Kobe was alive? I haven't heard nobody talk about Kobe like this when he was alive. The most I can literally say I heard, Sean, was Kobe ain't top 3, which I'm fine with that because I got Kobe at 5 on my list personally. That's the only thing that I heard about Kobe Bryant ever was that he should be in the top 3 conversation, which I didn't argue that. And then LeBron was better than him, which I'm cool with that. What do you think about everything you've been hearing? And how you feel about the Kobe disrespect?
So I want to say a couple things. When there used to be all-time lists done and you would see these lists come out, I would see lists that had Kobe ranked anywhere from 10 to 14. Mm-hmm. When he unexpectedly and unfortunately passed away, some of those conversations did become a little different, which again, whole separate thing. But I do want to say, while it wasn't widespread, there were conversations at the time. And what I'm saying at the time, when you talk about that first Laker run, Shaq Kobe run, that T-Mac, Paul Pierce, Vince Carter, Ray Allen, that you could put guys like that in that same position and the Lakers would be just as successful. We'll never know because it didn't happen. So I don't particularly like talking about the what if, but I am saying at the time that those were real conversations because those 4 guys could hoop. And I think some of the reason why there was a conversation was because it was pretty clear there wasn't always a lot of love between the 2 of those guys at the time, meaning Shaq and Kobe. So, and I also want to say Shaq was so dominant in the finals that when you go back and you watch those finals games, he was so dominant. And it's not that Kobe didn't do his part and Kobe didn't do his job, particularly in 2001 and 2002. 2000, it was not the best finals for Kobe, statistically anyway, but he did have a couple moments. I know Game 4, when Shaq fouled out, he did help them win in overtime. But yeah, I mean, it's the revisionist history, the what if, the hypotheticals. It none of this matters. And the guys who would have been a part of that conversation talking about it that way, that bothers me more than the quote unquote Kobe disrespect, because again, that wasn't your career. That wasn't your situation. Mm-hmm. I think it's pointless, but it's also, again, we're in the age of content. We're in the age of who said what, and can it trend? Can it get clicks? Can it get impressions? That's the age we're in, and that's why people talk about it that way. what I do know is for as great as Shaq was and as great as Kobe was, neither of them won in a Laker uniform without Phil Jackson.
Yep. Or Derek Fisher, to be funny. But
yeah, if you want to add Derek Fisher to that conversation, sure. And, Tex Winter, who is in my opinion, the greatest assistant coach in NBA history. So, it's not about one guy. It's generally about the collective. So that part, I think, isn't talked about enough. And, and that stuff matters. Now, I will say, and I've heard Kobe say this before his passing, he talked about playing against Tracy McGrady. And he said offensively, Tracy McGrady was a problem because he was bigger, he was taller, and Tracy McGrady was 6'8", and that might be being nice. And
he about 6'9", legitly.
Yeah, I mean, he was a problem. He was, and again, this is not a slight to Kobe. I want to be clear, I'm not citing Kobe here. I'm just talking about them in the draft. The hype about Tracy McGrady the next year in '97, him coming in the draft, where your Chicago Bulls were ready to trade Scottie Pippen to get Tracy McGrady in the draft. That's how excited people were about Tracy McGrady.
No, Tracy was nice.
Yeah, and I'm just about coming out of high school. So what he became, obviously going to Toronto, and then eventually what he became in Orlando, whole different animal. But he was a problem. But so was Paul Pierce. So was Vince Carter. So was Ray Allen. So it's there were some great two guards and wings at that time that people thought could be in that same situation and win. Whether they could or not, again, we'll never know. But I just hate that the guys who were who were in that conversation are feeding into that conversation now. And that's where Tracy McGrady is kind of losing me, to be honest, because I don't think he should be even engaging in that. His career was his career. He's a Hall of Famer, but it doesn't really matter.
Well, my problem coming into play is, for me, because now it's about basketball is a team sport, right? And everybody's talking about the me awards. Oh, what I do individually. But championship trophy is one of the only awards that you can get in the NBA without it being voted on, given to you. So there's no bias in that. At the end of the day, you won a championship, you earned a championship. So this stems from the second option not being respected as a championship. Let's be real. It only stemmed from y'all not respecting Scottie Pippen. Because let's not act like Scottie Pippen without Mike had an MVP caliber season and led the Bulls to a high record, and y'all still didn't respect Scottie because y'all just glazed the number one option. That's literally where this stems from. And they just carried that on to everybody else. Where Gil kind of lost me too a little bit with that second option championship. I said that's not necessarily true because Kobe championships was respected. Besides maybe the first one, because after the first one, people say 1A, 1B, whatever. He was always going to be the second option to Shaq. Anybody going to be a second option to Shaq. Shaq was the most dominant species on the planet during that time, and you couldn't stop Shaq. It's a couple trash can centers who got a job just to foul Shaq during that time because that's how dominant Shaq was. It's not even saying because in the fourth, or if you need a bucket off the dribble or somebody make a play, they get a ball to Kobe during that time, especially after the first championship, because there's only so much Shaq can do and how they was playing Shaq and fouling Shaq. So Kobe had to learn. When you don't understand how hard it is to win a championship and been in that situation, like I can't tell an NBA player how does it feel to wake up, go to practice, I can't tell you that. So I wouldn't talk like that. So I feel the same with championships. How you gonna put a value on something that you don't have? And if you look at me in my eye and tell me a regular season MVP is more valuable than a championship, you have lost your mind. Because go back and look at what year was it? 2012 with LeBron? LeBron supposed to be a unanimous MVP. One New York voter voted for Carmelo Anthony out of spite on some bias stuff, and LeBron missed out on being the unanimous MVP. And if you want to do it, and I'm using LeBron for example because this all stemmed from LeBron. Look at that Defensive Player of the Year. Marc Gasol won Defensive Player of the Year, being a second team all NBA defender, and LeBron was first, and LeBron was clearly the best defender in the league, and he did not get Defensive Player of the Year. But you'll have somebody, like I said, still shout out to Gil, but you have somebody Gil to sit here and tell me that an MVP is more valuable than a championship, and that is an award that is voted on. That is a voted on award. The MVP would never be more valuable than the championship. I think like you win the scoring championship of the season, MVP, stuff like that, but it's no voted on, it's just clearly earned, always should be held higher. Now, when it comes to this second option, don't get value as the championship, that's BS to me because, Sean, we're not going to value J-Dub right now because he was the second option to SGA. We're not going to value J-Dub. We're not going to value Jalen Brown, even though he got finals MVP, but he was the second option. We're not going to value Jalen Brown. We're not going to value Jamal Murray.
Can I say something?
Did we devalue Steph Curry when he was the second option to KD?
Can I say something? I never heard the term second option in basketball until this age.
Yeah. It started from Scotty, disrespecting Scotty.
No, but I mean, it was never, and I think you're probably right. Yeah, you understand there's a pecking order in terms of who the best player may be. But I saw a list the other day and I didn't say anything. I didn't respond to it because I'm got to the point I'm not going to respond to people with no logic. But the list had all these all-time great second options and it had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the list. And are you serious? Like, I love Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson is my all-time favorite player. But Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was not the second option on the Los Angeles Lakers until probably 1987.
They had Kareem as the second option on that list?
Yes. So, again, what it tells me is,
y'all just talking out your ASS.
Yeah, honestly. And the second piece for me is it's not about first option, second option, third option. It's about the team. I don't care if you're first option, second option, third option. Did you help the team win? Did you do your part? Because that's all that matters. Now, I want to say to G Money's comment right there, nobody's above criticism. Nobody. Because for as much as you can praise a player about their greatness, you can call them out when they come up short, particularly when it's their fault and a big part of how they played or why their team came up short, which is why people will never let LeBron forget about 2011, just like people will probably never let Kobe forget about 2004. So nobody, and Magic in 84, and the list goes on and on where you can look at different series, or Jordan 95 against the Magic. People will never, nobody's above it. If you came up short and your team came up short and you were a big part of it, it's going to be talked about. It doesn't mean you're not great. It just means you came up short. So nobody's above it. We can't, nobody, none of these NBA players, none of these athletes are deities.
Nope.
None of them are. That's why when we talk about guys, you rarely hear me get overly crazy about somebody's talent. I can respect your talent. I'm just not enamored with it. Because at the end of the day, if I step on the court with you, I feel like I got a chance too. I don't care who you are. So that's it. But too often, I think we're just we want to put these guys on these crazy pedestals and things like that. You play long enough, you're going to come up short. The great Bill Russell didn't win a championship every single year he was in the NBA. There were 2 years they didn't win a championship.
I mean, that's still crazy, though, by the way. But
it's crazy, but show me an NBA player in their entire career that every year they won a championship.
Nobody.
They don't exist, and they never will.
That ain't going to happen again.
Unless they play 1 year in the NBA and they just happen to be on the championship.
They win it that 1 year, get up out of there.
They won it. They won it. Hey, I'm gonna go because I'm 1 for 1.
I'm 1 for 1. I'm done. You know, they gonna get no pension though, but
yeah. So That's all I'm saying. Like, so I'm not saying that you can't talk about any player, because you can. I'm saying let's just be objective and fair. If there's criticism, be objective and fair in that criticism.
Mm-hmm.
But also be objective and fair when you talk about how great they were.
Yeah, I can agree with you. I'm glad you said that statement, because being objective and fair, I don't think T-Mac was being objective and fair at all. I think T-Mac lost his mind saying that you just replaced me with Kobe and I'm just going to win. And not saying T-Mac is not skilled enough to do it. If my basketball man was definitely think he could at least win one, but everybody depended on that Shaq, that 2000 year with Shaq, where Shaq was the best player in the league. No question asked that year. It was nobody better than Shaq that year. So you just figure you could put anybody on this team and win. That's not necessarily the case for me, because I think it's intangibles that Kobe had that T-Mac didn't have. And I don't think T-Mac was, and if I'm wrong, let me make sure I look at the stat before I say what I'm finna say. I don't think T-Mac was that Tracy McGrady yet during that time in 1999, 2000. I think he was showing potentials, but he wasn't that T-Mac that was dropping 30 at that point in time when the Lakers didn't won. He was like, what, 20? It was 2001, right?
2001. No,
it
was 2000, 2001, 2002. No, Tracy McGrady was like that in 2000.
Yeah, he's 26. Yeah. And then, but that's when he got traded to Toronto. That's what I'm saying. The year, what was the year that the Lakers, the first one? Was it 99 or 2000? It was 2000, 2001.
2000 was the first year.
2000. So, okay, we going to go off that. So, T-Mac was averaging about 26, and if it wasn't, he was averaging 15. Yeah, because he got traded. He showed the potential with flashes of it, but I still think it was things that Kobe had in general that was, I would think T-Mac would have, Kobe, I think that Kobe helped them win. I think Kobe mindset, his mentality, his defense, his ability to get better and score and play his role. T-Mac took off like this because he had the opportunity, he had the green light. I think if you put Kobe in the same situation where he had the green light, he put the same numbers up, because besides that 30-point season, let's be real. Let's be that season, T-Mac was going crazy, but that was when Shaq was gone. But if you put Kobe in that situation, I see Kobe put up the same numbers, and then with Kobe with Shaq, the numbers was close. T-Mac's numbers was a little bit higher, but this is one person who's a second option to Shaq, with Shaq on the floor with him, putting up these numbers, and T-Mac is by himself putting up these numbers. So if your numbers even close, I think Kobe would average 32. And he showed that once he got by himself down. Did they win? No. But the same thing could be said about the same thing could be said about how T-Mac. He didn't win nothing. But for him to come out and be like, put me in that same situation, I can win and do all this, T-Mac had multiple chances to make a run. Now, a championship run, I won't argue that. But with the Rockets, I think he could have. But ain't no excuse to not get out the first round, T-Mac.
And again, that's why I always point to it. A player's talent is not solely why they win. It is often situation. It is all, and the situation includes who's coaching.
That too.
Because tell me an all-time great player, name me an all-time great player, and it's rare that I can't say they didn't play for an all-time great coach.
Probably just LeBron, to be honest with you.
Which, again, Spo is a Hall of Famer.
Well, at the time he had coach, Spo wasn't.
But I'm saying he's a Hall of Famer. Right. None of those guys, when they're coaching, are Hall of Famers. Like, you build a track record. You got to have a track record before you get in the Hall of Fame. What I'm saying is that Spo was widely regarded as a coach that was going to ascend. And we've seen what he's done in that ascension. So, but most guys don't get. Phil Jackson was an unknown when he became the coach of the Bulls. He had been there, but he wasn't known as the Phil Jackson we know him as today. But as great as Michael Jordan was, he never won without Scottie Pippen, and he never won without Phil Jackson coaching.
And they Lakers tenure, the same thing. And also, it was 99-2000, like you said. So that was T-Mac averaging 16 points. I don't think T-Mac.
I think that was T-Mac in Toronto, yeah.
Toronto, yeah.
He was coming off the bench in Toronto.
Now, I think T-Mac would have balled out, but I can't 100% guarantee he was going to fill the role of Kobe. But also, this is my other thing, though. If it was just so easy to win with Shaq, right? If it was just so easy that you could just plug anybody in to do it, why Shaq didn't win with the Lakers without Kobe? He had years with Kobe was not the guy next to him.
Well, again,
60+ games. They lost.
Yeah, but again, who was their coach? Dale Harris.
Dale Harris, yeah.
And then Kurt Rambis.
Kurt Bummo Rambis.
So that's what I'm saying. So it can be the growth and the ascension of players on your team, but also who's on the bench, who's walking in with that level of respect. Because again, for as great as Shaq was, Pat Riley, Phil Jackson, those are the coaches that he was able to win championship rings with in different situations. Tim Duncan, Greg Popovich. So it's not. I know there's some all-time great players. I know there's some all-time great talents. If you are a champion, and I mean I'm talking a multiple-time champion, and you've been in the same place, because again, the difference now is guys jump around. So you're not playing with the same coach if you jump around all the time. But if you play in the same place largely for most of your career and you play for the same coach, that continuity is a part of why you win championships. It's just a part of it. So that's when people say it's all about this individual great player, no, it's not. Where were they? What happened?
And do you think, real quick, just honest, if T-Mac was on that team that year, that he win? Or if he was on the Lakers, how many championships he won with Shaq, with Phil? Do you think?
I couldn't put it in context, but I can just tell you what I remember from that time was that Shaq was so dominant, and he would always take his game to another level in the final. It was something about the finals and Shaq, that early 2000 era, that he would take his game to another level of dominance. Yeah, there's a reason why he won 3 straight finals MVPs. No slight to anybody. He was just that dominant. NBA finals.
He was gonna get it regardless. But I just think, like how you talk about like the hypothetical, because hypotheticals don't always work, because you don't put the day-to-day to everything into it with a team. Just because you put 2 good players together does not mean it's gonna work. And we have seen situations where you put players on the team together and it ain't work. Perfect example. I just give y'all the last recent one that we seen. James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant. Did not work. Devin Booker, KD, Bradley Beal, which that was bad team building, by the way, did not work. You need, like you said, Sean, you need a coach, and you probably need more players on that team and that bench.
LeBron, AD, and Russ.
Did not work. I'm just saying, so don't just say, hey, plug me here. We just gonna win. You come on, it don't work like that. You don't think somebody said, hey, put me on the 2020 Lakers. Yeah, put Russell Westbrook on the 2020 Lakers. They just win. Or, put anybody with Bron in 2016, he just win a championship. No, that's not the case. It's not the case at all. Let's keep going, Sean. We got a couple stories. We got to get to this pre-aging madness. I want to talk about, obviously, we didn't do the draft. Sorry about that, guys. But it's supposed to be the moment of your life. You're supposed to be happy. You're finally living a dream. There was a lot of ungrateful players in this draft, man. They didn't seem happy. We had Murray Bowles. He dropped the F-bomb by getting drafted to Toronto. Obviously, got the Ace Bailey situation. So, Sean, just real quick, what do you think is the problem with this? People blaming it was these Nepo babies. People blaming NIL. People blaming AAU. What is it where these players, like we used to see players that was like happy to make it to the league. Like, and I get NIL, which I think NIL needs to get a structured control to it. They have to do something with NIL. It's getting out of hand because, first of all, the NIL was supposed to be put in place, to me, how I took it. It's not no free agency. We signing players to the school. This was just to make sure that the players didn't get in trouble for getting paid. And also, if anything goes on, they just make sure they got money. It's not you signing contracts like it's the NBA. And then AAU, it's more about highlights and clicks. And then the Nepo baby stuff is all the NBA sons coming in, and they feel like they not really like, they don't really got that grind in them because they pretty much came from rich, being suburban kids. So what do you think it is? What is the problem? Because I don't understand how you're not. I don't care if I'm getting drafted to the league. I don't care where I'm going. You can send me to Utah. If I didn't want to go to Utah, I'll be in Utah for my rookie contract, and I'm leaving. Why is that so hard? Steph Curry, Dale Curry didn't want Steph Curry to go to the Warriors. He wanted to go to the Knicks. And by God, thank God he went to the Warriors. That was the best decision. Him going to the Golden State Warriors made him a Hall of Fame player. But Sean, what do you think it is? And what was your reaction to that? Do you agree that this draft class is ungrateful first? And then what do you think it is?
I don't want to say it's the draft class. I just think it's a generational thing.
News today,
I mean, if we're being honest, right? This is, as the draft classes get younger, this is the entitlement generation for the most part. It's not that these guys haven't put in the work. It's not that these guys haven't put themselves in position to be drafted. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that this is the age of the entitled kid. Now, I will say, for as much as we call this the ungrateful draft class,
so we'll be known as.
Yeah, there was one kid who stood out in particular, and it was the young man from Duke,
the African kid, the center.
Yeah, Malawach. Yes,
Malawach. Yeah.
Did you see what he did? Did you see how he responded? Because that was his comeuppance. But it was also, look at where he came from. Look at what he grew up in. And he was someone who only started playing basketball a few years ago.
Yeah, Jamaica, that's cold.
Right. And so when you look at the impact of the Luau Dangs and the Messiah Ujiri, who I know I don't know if we're talking about him tonight, but it matters. And I will say, Wood, it just happened before Steve Francis. You go all the way back to Danny Ferry. When Danny Ferry got drafted by the Clippers, he basically said, "Don't draft me." The Clippers drafted him, and he ended up signing, I think, overseas to play overseas. So it's happened. It's just this is a generation that wants what they want. They want to control everything that they do. They want to control how they move. They don't necessarily want to go where you tell them to go. And again, I think obviously the poster child for that being Ace Bailey. Now, Ace Bailey's saying all the right things now that, he's grateful. He's happy to be in Utah.
You see his manager?
Yes, I saw his manager. Yeah, I saw his manager. No comment. The whole thing is you only control so much. Sometimes where you end up going can be a blessing and you don't even realize it. Yep. Sometimes you get somewhere and you think this is where I want to be, and then you realize, you know what, this isn't really the right place for me. So I do believe, some of this is going to be a learning experience, but also, a lot of these kids, again, this isn't their comeuppance.
Yeah, right.
This isn't the moment they get drafted is not the first time they're going to make life-changing money or generational money. They're doing that already coming in. So why? So for them, and again, I'm not saying they're wrong in this viewpoint, they're the commodity, not the team, not the place that's drafting them. They're the commodity. So, so that's how that's how they think. And again, I think that's, there's a,
that baby was diabolical. I mean, that was funny too. Yeah. That reaction funny.
Yeah. And so, so I think it's some of that. Charles Barkley did not want to go to Philadelphia 76ers. He said that. He did not want to go to Philadelphia. He was he literally blew up in order for them not to draft him. They said, you can put on 150 pounds, we're still drafting you. Right. So and Philadelphia actually ended up being the best place. He was around all those veteran guys, and he learned how to be a professional. Moses Malone and Dr. J and Maurice Cheeks and Bobby Jones and Clement John, that was a veteran-laden team, and it was the right place for him to go. We talk about Cooper Flagg.
Dallas is perfect.
It's the perfect place because he doesn't have the pressure of having to carry the franchise. Not today. Maybe 4 years, 5 years, that's a conversation. But today, he doesn't have to be the face of the franchise. Yeah. I was trying to think back to the last time a number one pick went to the right situation, the perfect situation, and the first name that came to mind in this era was Derrick Rose.
I would say it's D Rose
because the Bulls weren't terrible,
but the pressure came on because he was from here.
He was from Chicago, but in terms of just the construction of the roster and the team, the Bulls had a good roster.
He came right in.
He came right in, and it was rest is history. So and then probably more historically is James Worthy. James Worthy got drafted number 1 by the Lakers. They just won a championship. So he's going to the same team. Well, they made a trade with Cleveland, and Cleveland had the number 1 pick, and it was a trade from a couple years before. But the point is that it was he landed in the perfect spot for him. He didn't have to go in and be the face of the franchise. All he had to do was go in, and he was going to learn. He was going to learn under Jamal Wilkes and Kareem and Magic, and they had Norm Nixon at the time, and they had Bob McAdoo at the time. That was a loaded veteran
team.
So sometimes you go to the right place and you end up having a better career than maybe you could if you go someplace it's not. So I don't know if the draft class is ungrateful. I just think this is the draft. This is the age of I'm entitled to want what I want when I want it.
Nobody crazy. Okay. But we got to talk about the WNBA expanding to Cleveland, Detroit, Philadelphia by 2030. This is a good sign for the WNBA. One, it's 2 things I want the WNBA to do. Also, Sean, I seen this funny thing. If you have not heard it, then that'll be you understand what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, please go check out Minnesota Lynx highlights. It's 2 players on their team, and the announcer called them stud butts. Stud buds. I swear to you, I seen that. It's 2 people on the team, and they make a play. She's like, "Oh, they're going to assist from stud butts," and then the other girl shoot the 3. I'm a fan of it, and I'm saying to you, not just look it up, bro. I was crying, bro. I said, "Ain't no way you saying announcing these girls as studs during the play." But I digress. That's different for a different day. WNBA expanding is a good thing, but one thing I do want the WNBA do if they're going to expand, we say about 2030. No, Juju gonna be in the league by then. I'll say Juju probably gonna be in Philly, boy. But Juju got 2 more years, 3 more years? No, she got hurt, so she got 3 more years.
No, she's got 2 more years because last year was her sophomore year.
Okay, well, no, she's not gonna be in either one of these teams. But what I do want the WNBA to do with the more they expand, at least their first round picks, you got to make sure they stay on the team. No more cutting draft picks. No more cutting these young players. I get it all. It's ruthless. You got to be able to make the cut. But for the league to be great and grow, and what the NBA has done, you can't tell me a lot of players who still can't play in the NBA, but you got to have that fresher, that younger face in the league. Jamal Crawford probably still get buckets right now. Dwight Howard probably can make a rotation right now. But you gotta put the young, fresh faces in. Younger, fresher faces keep your league growing, to me. But if I had to put money on each of these teams, which I think is great, I think Philly might have the best fan base because Philly show out for their fans. I mean, Philly show out for their team, especially when you win. But what you think about this expansion, I think it's great. I think this expansion is great. I think it opened up more jobs for the WBA. I like that the WBA is expanded. But if you have to put your money on which team, which city you're going to hold it down for, who you got, and what you think about the expansion, I got Philly.
Well, I'll say, obviously, we're going to get 5 more WNBA teams here in the next, 5 years, obviously, with Toronto coming in next year, Portland coming in after that, and then Cleveland and Detroit and Philadelphia. the way the women's college game is exploding, this only makes sense. And when I say exploding, the women's college game has always been like that. It's just now on more platforms and more people are seeing it. But I think it's definitely great. Cleveland and Detroit had WNBA teams before. The Shock ended up moving. Detroit Shock ended up moving. But that was a very rabid fan base in Detroit, and they were successful. They won championships. Bill Lambert was the coach.
Not to cut you off, but also Tiffany is right. Why is all these Houston ain't getting announced yet? This still baffles me. Like,
well, I mean, again, you got to have an ownership group that presents, a presentation that intrigues the league, and I don't know. I understand Tillman Fertitta, who owns the Rockets. He was preliminarily interested in bringing the Comets back. I don't know if he still is, but Detroit's got a very strong ownership group with Tom Gores and who owns the Pistons, but also you have Grant Hill and Chris Webber as a part of that ownership group. So a lot of it is, you got to have the right ownership group. You got to have the right people behind it in those cities. Cleveland did have a WNBA team before, the Cleveland Rockers. They were there for about 6 years. And I know they had one good run. I think it was 98. They were in the conference finals. And Lynette Woodard, an all-time great player. She was much older, but she was probably their franchise player or big name player at the time. They had a couple other players too, but I think it's just these markets really that had teams that might have folded for financial reasons or whatever, ownership reasons. Now you got to have that strong ownership base that wants these teams and are willing to invest. And now I think you're seeing ownership groups see the value in it, and they're willing to put forth the investment to expand. And I think the expansion fee was $250 million.
Oh, that $250 million. Ooh, wait.
Yeah. So yeah. But that said, they see where the women's game is going from college, and they hope to bring that to the WNBA.
Which I think it would help, because you better get on it now, because the popularity of the women's game has not been as high as it is. Shout out my boy Steph and them in the basement in the chat. But Sean, do you think when the teams go, if it's a team that come back to a city, do you think it's going to be still the same name as the old team used to be?
I think Detroit definitely. I don't know about Cleveland. Because Cleveland Rockers is based on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Maybe they'll bring that back.
Right. Philly never had a team, right?
Philly's never had a team, so I'm putting this out now. I was texting with Philly fan earlier, and I thought Lady Liberty would be the name of the team. He said the Liberty Bells, but Bells spelled Bells. And I was like, okay, I think that could work. Someone put on Twitter the 76 Hers. Like, we're not doing that.
No, they don't want to associate that with them, because they're gonna be trash. They're gonna be the process. They're gonna get the Joel Embiid process going on.
Yeah, and remember you got the New York. Remember you got the New York Liberty.
So you can't do the same thing.
Yeah, so you really can't do the same thing, But that remains to be seen.
Yeah. Now we gotta either Liberty. Yeah. Now we gotta get into this free agency madness. We just go through a couple moves that we see. Also, one that just broke too, Sean. Free agent sharpshooter Luke Kennard has agreed to a 1-year, $11 million deal with the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta not playing. I'm changing my dark horse pick. Atlanta gonna be the team.
Get out the first round and holler at me.
Yeah, but they just also Shams has reported Trae Young pretty much recruited Luke Kennard and Alexander Walker to the Hawks. Which I don't blame. But we're going to go through the moves. If something else happened while we on stream, we can just talk, grade, and what we think about it. First up, Nickeil Alexander Walker, 4-year, $62 million deal with the Hawks. What's your grade? What you think about this move?
I don't grade moves, but I think it's a solid move. Obviously, he provides, not just as a combo guard, but perimeter defense. He's played in some big moments, some big playoff games, brings that experience along with, Dyson Daniels and Trae Young, and now, Luke Kennard in that rotation as well. So yeah, I think it's a good move for the Hawks.
I'm grading this move is A for me, especially with the Luke Kennard. You have bigger players, bigger wings, defenders, shooters around Trae Young, especially with him recruiting. So that means Trae Young ain't gonna ball, he's gonna pass the ball, especially gonna get an assist besides the oop. So yeah, I'm gonna get this A. I like this move. I think so far from the moves I've seen, Atlanta and Houston won a free agency so far. Next up, Denver Nuggets. I trade Michael Porter Jr. and an unprotected first-round pick. Sean predicted this trade. Go back and look at our Northwest prediction videos. You'll see it. For Cam Johnson, how we liking this move?
I love this move. I did when we did our offseason predictions and wish lists. I did make the prediction that this was going to be the move for Denver. Again, Denver was very top heavy in terms of their salary with their 4 players. They had to do something. Cam Johnson Cam Johnson can play, and we know his ability to space the floor. But to me, his ability as a mover off ball will help diversify their offense even more with Joker, particularly Joker, playing in the high post and the pinch post. So, I think this is a great move. Nothing against Michael Porter Jr. Again, Michael Porter Jr. a big part of their championship winning season, but this is the new NBA, and you can't, be that top heavy because it affects your ability to build depth. And so it's a great move. I thought it was a great move for Denver. And, Brooklyn, they're not trying to win right now. They're trying to collect assets and pieces, and getting that 2032 first-round pick is an asset for them. Good move.
Yep, unprotected pick too at that. I think Cam Johnson is a great asset, younger player, cheaper price, and you get a pick. So, and you get a pick when you Brooklyn. I think the pick is more valuable than Michael Porter Jr., but Michael Porter Jr. can finally show why he should have been number 1 pick. But I do like this move for the Nuggets. I think this is great because now when you make a move like this, you can add depth to your team. If I had to grade this, I grade this move. This is another A move for me too, because then you add depth. And then the same prediction video. Make sure I go check out our Northwest prediction videos. I predicted that they might go out that guy like Bruce Brown. I think they used their mid-level exception to get Bruce Brown too, and for a 1-year deal. And I knew they missed Bruce Brown from when he left last time. And Bruce Brown was a big asset to this team. So that Cam Johnson move was just a move to set up to bring Bruce Brown. So now you add a player who can give you what possibly Michael Porter Jr. was giving with better defense, and you get Bruce Brown. How you think about this move?
Again, Bruce Brown, after they won the championship, it became a cost issue, right? They couldn't afford to keep Bruce Brown. Right. Obviously, he's bounced around Indiana, Toronto, New Orleans. This is a good move. I think he can still be very productive for them. Certainly, coming off the bench and providing some bench scoring. So, yeah, I like this move for Denver. Denver, everybody's going to talk about Houston, what Houston has done, and Atlanta, what Atlanta's done. But Denver quietly has done some really, really good moves, on the first day of free agency and trade. So I think this is a solid move for the Denver Nuggets.
Speaking of the Rockets, let's go with the first one. Rockets re-signed Jabari Smith Jr., $122 million, 5 years. What you think about this one?
Again, I was not surprised they did this. They like him a lot. He's still an ascending young player. And again, this only made sense when they didn't have to give him up in any trade for Kevin Durant or anybody else. It made sense. And again, I think he's their starting power forward, right, for the next 5 years.
Yes.
6 years. Because it's technically an extension. So yeah, I think this is a great move with Houston Rockets. If I were a Houston Rockets fan, I'd be very excited about not just the present, but also the future of this team with him and obviously Amin Thompson and Sengun and some of their other young players, along with the veteran guys they have to try to win now.
I like this move. I think this move is great. You got to keep your guy. You got rid of the young guy that you want to get rid of, Jalen Green. So I definitely have to say solid move. Not surprised about this at all. And then you got him to learn with KD next to him. Oh, yeah, he's going to be nice next year. Then the Rockets added Clint Capella. What you think about this one?
This was a little bit of a surprise because they just re-signed Steven Adams to a 3-year, $39 million deal. But I mean, I think Clint Capella, honestly, he loved playing in Houston when he was there before. It's not an expensive deal. Again, veteran guy, can give you some quality minutes. They showed in the playoffs they like playing two bigs together, together from time to time. So, it makes sense if they, plan to use them in their rotation. But this one was definitely kind of a surprise deal for me.
I thought he was going to the Lakers. I'm not gonna lie.
I did not think he was going to the Lakers. I don't think anybody.
I didn't think Houston was gonna give, like you said, they signed Steven. I didn't really. They got Sengun, Steven Adams. I was like, I don't really think they needed a bid. So I was kind of shocked on this one. This was like a C-ish for me. I don't really think it moves the needle, but to get him on a deal, you got him. It's not a bad deal. Now the Rockets' other move, Dorian Finney-Smith. I think this is a nice move. I like this. How you feel about this one?
I think this is a great move. This is exactly what they need when they lost Dillon Brooks. When I say lost Dillon Brooks, when they traded Dillon Brooks in the KD trade, they really wanted to replace him. I think Finney-Smith is the perfect replacement for him. He can play, obviously, multiple positions. And, again, he's going to help them continue their defensive identity along with being an improved three-point shooter. So their spacing, should, get better. So, yeah, I think this is a very solid move for the Rockets. And, again, to me, OKC the champs. I'm not going to count out the champs. The Rockets were the second seed last year. In my mind, all these moves, all the things they're doing,
they got way better.
They've gotten better, and they're going to push OKC in the Western Conference next season. And there's no doubt in my mind, provided they're healthy.
If they replace what Dillon Brooks do without the shenanigans, I think this is an excellent move. Dorian Finney-Smith is a great defender, approved as a shooter, fits exactly what they need next to the guys that they got, especially like Van Vliet and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's not like a trash defender, but it's always great to have great defenders. This definitely was a B move to me. Next up, Jared Jackson expected to agree to a 5-year, $240 maximum renegotiation extension. How you feel about this one, Shar?
Not surprising. Again, he and Ja are their foundational pillar pieces. He was eligible for an extension, a renegotiation and extension. So that's why they make the Bane move. That's why they needed to free up some things financially. So, again, a great move for one of their foundational pieces. They've done some other things in free agency that I know we'll probably talk about as well, but this was the beginning. This was, hey, we are locked in on you and Ja, as the two guys who will continue to lead this franchise.
Yeah, I think once we seen Desmond Bane go, because I knew I would say that mean Jared Jackson, they met at a number that they was cool with him having, so they was like, okay, then we gonna keep him. Next up, James Harden signs an $81 million deal with the Clippers. How are you grading this?
Again, I think I might have predicted that this was going to be probably going to be that 2 years, $80 million deal with the Clips. It only makes sense. Again, the Clippers still feel like they got a window to compete in the Western Conference. So this only makes sense, and I think it's a good deal for both sides.
No, I think it's definitely a good deal for both sides. I don't see James Harden going anywhere else. Anyway, I think he found a home in Cleveland, and this is a solid deal for James Harden. Last up on the list, D'Angelo Russell signed a 2-year, $13 million deal with the Dallas Mavericks, even though this was leaked early. I don't know if you've seen it early. It kind of got leaked. So I don't know if people are tampering or not, or they waited too late to announce.
They just can't say they're tampering.
Yeah. But what you think about this one?
Again, this is a solid move. Obviously not having Kyrie Irving to start the season. They're projecting he may be back in January, I think, at the earliest. This is a solid move, gives the Mavericks another ball handler. And again, I think he understands at this juncture he's probably best playing a role, and he's in a good situation. So it's a really solid move for the Mavs. And the Mavs are pushing all their chips in the middle with this, right? They're saying, hey, we got a 2 or 3 year window to try to win with this group. It's a solid move for the Mavs, I think.
All right, last one, Sean. You take one. You take which player you want. I'll take the other player. So obviously we have a buyout. We have two players that got about two big names, Jordan Clarkson and DeAndre Ayton so far. You pick one. Tell me where you give me your top three destinations where they should sign, and I'll take the other.
Okay.
Well, you want Ayton or you want Jordan Clarkson?
I want. Give me Ayton.
Okay. All right, DeAndre Ayton. The three best places he should want to go is
Boston Celtics,
okay.
Charlotte Hornets,
Oh God,
LA Lakers.
I can see the Lakers. You know the Lakers always.
Well, no, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. No, Milwaukee Bucks.
Milwaukee Bucks. Okay. If I'm Jordan Clarkson, I will want to go to. I don't think Houston got no more money, so this might be open. But I'm Houston out. I want to go to the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Denver Nuggets, yeah. Maybe the Orlando Magics. I'm trying to think of an East team. Because Cleveland, I don't think Cleveland they got the money on to do nothing. But it's a top contender team in the East. I'm gonna say maybe the Magic, because I think they definitely need that shooting and scoring off the bench. Said Orlando, really Boston? Yeah, I think if I'm Aiden, I want to go to Boston too, because it ain't about this year; it's about next year.
It's about for Aiden. To be honest, what it's about Aiden is trying to rebuild his market, right? Because he's gotten a bad rap for someone who doesn't always compete, particularly on the defensive end. I think he's really got to rebuild his market. And Boston is big man deficient. They just lost Luke Cornett in free agency to San Antonio. And so I think it's, in my opinion, I think it's it would be Boston would not be a bad place for him. And again, it's not going to be on a big money deal. He's getting, a pretty decent payout from the Trailblazers, about $22 million. I think he gave about $10 million to be bought out. But basically, you got to rebuild your market if you're DeAndre Ayton. And then 2026 is a bigger free agent market in terms of teams having cap space. I just think it makes too much sense, in my opinion, for them for him to consider Boston.
Yes, stop it, Tiff. Yeah, that really Boston. Yeah, you gotta consider Boston. Episode 72, sure, you got 772.
Well, we got one thing. I think today is National Social Media Day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there's something that was trending on national.
I forgot about this. This is hilarious, by the way. This is adorable. But let me show my young boy. Hold on, wait, let's go back. Okay, show you want to explain this.
Yeah. So notice the form he's already using. All right, as a top. Look at the form, right? Look at the form. Now,
wet like water.
Yeah,
wet like water.
Yeah, that's Klay Thompson form right there. I mean, Steve Nash. That's he's learning already. Now, notice also when he misses the shot, what he does, he falls down. So that means he's been watching NBA basketball already. He knows how to milk the foul. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out for National Social Media Day.
Hey, look, if he could get at minimum with how tall people get in the league now, if he can get 6'6", 6'5", he got it already. He gonna be
shoot. I mean, hey, listen, he can be 6'2". If he can shoot like that, he'll be in the league. I promise you.
Yeah, but I guess the league is nowadays is everybody getting tall, man. We got 6.5 shooting guards now, man. But
yeah, absolutely.
That jumper is crazy. It's so cute. But yeah, episode 72, Sean, who you got, man? 7 or number 2?
Episode 72. Man, I'm probably gonna go with Dan Deerdorf. Old school.
Deerdorf. Ooh. Well, let me see what 72 looking like for me. Dan Deerdorf. I'm gonna pick him because I like his name. I'm looking at this list. I'm gonna pick Too Tall Jones.
Ed Too Tall Jones. Yeah, that's a good
Too Tall
call.
Jones. I like his name, Too Tall Jones. Appreciate you guys for the episode of Real Takes and Fake Debates with SB and Sean. We'll see if something else crazy happen. Might drop a video again later. Something crazy happen. If not, we'll see. But we will see you guys on the next one. Peace out.